So I'm sure most of us have heard about the recent fan service private server thing for Concord to try to revive it for the, I'd say 4 people that actually played it. And then Sony comes around the corner and shuts it down, claiming copyright and all this other nonsense. I'm just going to come out and say that I'm calling bullshit on this, because Sony has made it very clear they don't really care about copyright law, or else they would shut down the PlayStation emulators with this same legal aggression that Nintendo does. So for Sony to continue this tirade on shutting down a Concord server, do I really care about the Concord thing? No, I really don't. If people want to revive a piece of shit game, by all means, have fun with it. But I do have a problem with the double standard that is there and that is being displayed outright. Because for years now, people have used PS1 and PS2 emulators that have become extremely popular with millions of users. A lot of people use them. A lot of speedrunners even use emulators to speedrun games. And so for those to be out there in the open and Sony takes zero charge with it and takes zero action against these emulators, it to me shows a massive double standard. And it also kind of might paint another picture that maybe they're not actually done with the Concord nonsense. Maybe they are trying to revive it, and that's why they're trying to shut it down. But it still begs the question of, why would you do this but not the other? When even the most popular PS2 emulator even recently came out, and there was a whole article, there was stuff on Twitter, everywhere, about how 99.9% of PS2 games are now fully optimized and fully playable with their emulator, meaning that pretty much every PS2 game is now runs just the way it did on the original hardware on the emulator. To be fair, that's quite the achievement, and that's a lot of optimization on their part. But it's not just done by one person. There's a huge community behind that. The fact that they have not tried to shut that down, but they'll shut this down, is kind of baffling. Sony needs to either stand on one side of the fence or the other. You can't stand in the middle. You can't have that gray area. It's the same argument as Final Fantasy XIV with their mods, where they come out and say, oh, well, this is okay, but this isn't. And, well, maybe this is acceptable. Okay, well, you're kind of crossing a line with this one. No, you either say yes or no. It's either all or nothing. It's the same thing with Sony. You either accept one form of IP or copyright law, or you accept none of it. So if you're going to attack Concord, you need to start attacking these emulators. I'm not saying that I want them to, but I'm saying that you can't just attack one thing without attacking all the others. And it's the same thing with Bloodborne. People have made it unofficial PC versions of Bloodborne that run at 60 frames per second. Yes, those have been, out there in the open for quite some time now. But yet we don't see Sony attacking those. So that's why I'm calling bullshit on this one. And I think there's clearly something happening within the company for them to actually go after this. And unlike Nintendo, this is the first time we've really seen Sony go after some kind of fan-made thing like this. And I get they're going to try and claim the liability thing of, oh, well, if something happens on these servers that's illegal or whatever, we're held liable. And no, if it's a private server, you shouldn't be held liable. And again, I'm going to go back to the Stop Killing Games initiative. That's where something like this could come into play and alleviate a lot of that liability on these companies, because they shouldn't be held liable for some kind of fan service or fan private server that gets opened up, especially for a game that no longer exists. The game no longer exists. There's not servers for it or anything like that. You can't even buy it anymore. What is really the harm in having it happen? It did kind of tilt me a little bit seeing something like that while still knowing the double standard that's there. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think it's justified? Do you just not give a shit? That's all I got for today. So if you like the video, leave a like, give me a sub. It really helps me out. And until next time, you guys have a good one. Peace.